Yes, my sister. It's not so many people that after the parents have divorced will say that they were taken care of by their fathers. Yeah?
Very true.
And it's wonderful to hear that you didn't have to suffer because you were with your father, and when your stepmother came in, you were just treated like any other. So you never really experienced any gap of a mom.
Not at all, not at all. I actually have two moms to this day because, as I said, I later connected with my mother and my stepmom is there. So my children have two grannies. And I explained the story quite clear so we all know who's who.
Beautiful, beautiful. They are rich in that sense. So I guess so the reason why you had to repeat, they definitely wanted you to go to the university, right?
They wanted me to go to university, but very, very, very stern in that you have to be nothing but a doctor.
Why were they so keen? Well, I guess those were the popular professions then for black people then.
Yeah. Besides that, I think my dad, because my dad was very good in science, he actually went to go some technical college. So in today's term, he could have been an engineer. So for him, he wanted, with all this, the time that I spent, because I had a lot of time sitting down with him and having conversations, so he wanted me to be in very key positions where I don't have to be taking orders, but rather giving the orders. So that's his that's his way. So he raised me up much as I could go and do beauty contests and everything. When I came back home, I had to assist him, go for well there and do all that. So in that, you just see that he wanted you to be so developed. And I think it was just a tall order to really do anything that would satisfy him. So he wanted somebody in medicine. And it's because most of his nephews and nieces at the time, so you were either an attorney and some of them physiotherapy. He says to me, no. Physiotherapy is almost like you want to be a doctor, but you're not a doctor, so you cannot be that. So that's why for him, because we had dentists at home, we had in our family, we had like dentists, your physiotherapist, and he says, no, you have to do medicine. And that influenced me going into the science stream. So I had to study geography, physical science, biology, because of that.
At which university was this?
So I went to Medunsa and I dropped out.
I see.
March, because that was just not me.
Yes. So within a few months you realized that I'm not going to be a medical doctor.
I was terrified of, at the time, Sam, today, thank God for advancement of technology. So at the time you had to they put you through. It was just very traumatic because they had to use like real corpses. It was not like miniature or anything else like that. So it was very traumatic. So I could not cope. And I met, me networking and everything. I met a wonderful lady. She was from IMD in London, Melanie Stock. So I met Melanie Stock, and I met Melanie through the Christian student movement, because I was involved. Remember, I got involved from high school. So even when you went to varsity, it's quite a very close-knit network, so we know each other. So, and Pretoria was very, very much strong in the Christian student movement organization. So I met her through there, and she said to me, you just don't belong here. And we had a chat. And long story short is she put me in touch with one of her friends who was an educational therapist, but also she was a psychologist. They were all from London, but working in South Africa at the time. So she assessed me, and she said to me, you just don't belong here. And from your assessment, they give you four options. So you've got your recreational career, which is like, because I speak a lot, I can sing and everything else. I said, but I don't like that. So in all the four of them, human resources at the time, and it was called personnel management, came top. And it was new to me. I've never heard of that. I said to her, I don't even know what you're talking about. So she sat down with me. It was just the holidays, the Easter. She sat down with me. She lived in Bryanston. I went to her house. She sat down with me and taught me what human resources is all about and everything. And I just knew that this is where I should be. Immediately, without my dad knowing, I said to him, I'm going to move to Wits. And he says, oh, okay, that's fine. And my dad being my dad, believe it or not, I mean, I lived for Wits. I was at Wits for like 3 months until I met IPM. And that's where I ended up in IPM. So he used to even come to Banato. He used to even, when I moved out of Banato, he used to even come so that he wants to see. That's, I never had a chance to do anything. So he is that involved. So that's how I landed up for IPM, studying IPM through IMD College, because IMD College in London had IMD College, which at the time, I mean, that was new. If you remember, even your IMMs, those were new.
Yes.
The private universities were new. So that's how I went.
So you came into contact with IPM while you were studying at Wits?
Yes.
And then the IPM then was still very strong, right?
It was very strong. And IPM now, I think towards June, they built links with, because IMD only offered IMM. So they offered IPM. So I moved across, because it's literally opposite IPM at the time. It was opposite Vets at the time.
Yes.
So I went to IMD because they had specialists from IMD, and that's how I studied. But IPM was in Parktown in the time. Yes. That's 1994. So.
Wow. Let's go back a little bit. One of the reasons why we like you guys telling the stories is because these things are still happening even today. That kids finish grade 12 without really having any clarity of what they're going to study.
Absolutely.
And they arrive on campus, and the parents, it's very interesting. If parents are involved, they are over-involved. There's so much that they dictate for the children. Or you have parents of like some of us from deep rural, they just don't care as long as you go and study and you bring a degree home. Whether it's degree in theology or whatever, they don't get involved. So, I mean, look at it. Parents always mean good for the children.
Absolutely.
But sometimes they service their needs.
Mm-hmm. We live our dreams through our children.
Yes, which is fun. But I wish we could have a collaboration with our parents to say, listen, let's engage. Is it about you or is it about me? And of course, at that time it's hard. But I think now things are changing. But I think the biggest concern I have now, they are more abdicating than before.
No, that's true. That's true, Sam. And, that experience, 1994, 28th of February, this is when my whole confusion came in until the 1st of April, where I enrolled at IPM. And I will not mention Vets because it was really almost a transition for me. So that was very critical for me. And I knew that day, and I knew in my heart, that period, that I have to go back and plow back in my community, especially Tagetala, because if I grew up with a little bit of privilege, where I have a mom that's very knowledgeable, I've got a family that's like very diverse in their careers and everything, I could still end up in this similar situation. So I have to now go back and ensure that all the children go rural areas, especially they don't go through what I went through. And I made that decision that day. And as soon as I finished and I started working, go Edcon, believe me, Sam, that's where Mapitsi Foundation started. I went back to the school, and up until today, that's where we run a project it's one of our flagship projects. It's called Careers Tagetala, Annual Careers Out of the Mainstream. So it's literally just on those 2 days, we showcase people, because kids these days, they don't just get impressed by you being rich or you being so they are spoiled for choice. There's so many people they can look up to. But you need to connect them in a very intimate way, where they look at the aesthetics, they think, oh, I actually want to be so-and-so. And that's why, we have to bring on the day to showcase people that are working, people that they can look up to. And we bring diverse. I mean, it's careers out of the mainstream. For example, instead of bringing an accountant, I would rather bring something different, or maybe an entrepreneur who is in accounting, or somebody that's doing actual science and all those kind of things. So you're opening up their horizon. And I mean, that's why the burden is so hard that every year when challenges come, you want to go back and think, okay, this year maybe let's not host that career day. But you think about 1,200 kids that every year they are waiting for that, because it's almost like a done deal. In that, they will tell you that's Mapitsi Day, those 2 days.
Yeah, wow.
So it's critical that we involve our kids and expose them to personalities, and then they get to understand. And we do that from grade 10 to grade 12. So by that time already they know. We started doing it at grade 8, which is for 1 year, grade 8. But because of the high demand from other schools, we had to accommodate them. So if we don't have too many kids that are registering, then for Taketale, it's a primary school, obviously. So we would host it from 1 or grade 8 up until grade 12. But it's just to expose them so they have the knowledge and they see. And we will also bring personalities that they could relate to. Kids love celebrities, even though that word for me does not work because it's more about popularity. So we even bring people in that field so that they can be doing what they're supposed to be doing. So that's the best thing that we can do from our side.
Wow. And do you have some of your former schoolmates coming back as alumni to be part of this? Do you showcase it?
Yeah, it's a funny one. We should have started it like that. And this is one thing where if you're a visionary, please understand that this is not a class action. So people will fall off because it takes a lot from you. It takes commitment. It takes sacrifices. So we started with about 5 of them, and unfortunately, year 2 already, they were all gone. But I still extend the invitation to everybody else. And I must say, throughout the years, I mean, this year was going to be our 17th annual career day.
Wow.
In all those times, 83% of the people that come there is people that I met at work and people that are not from Limpopo.
Beautiful, but the main thing is that is almost like a tradition now.
Absolutely. We're learning every year, and we have to excel and be better to what we did last year, and we're doing it differently. The school kids now do it themselves, so we run workshops for them to do it, so that it exposes especially kids that want to be in the hospitality environment or in communication. So I go there, teach them on how to speak, etiquettes and blah, blah, blah. So on the day, they actually run it themselves. We are just, there to support. So from coming in, registering, they even understand you have to register everybody, doing indemnity forms, doing this and this and this. It's beautiful. So you should one day join us.
No, absolutely. I'm in. You just have to give me the date. I definitely will. I didn't know that you're doing it down there. I knew that you're doing the Mapitsi Foundation is a philanthropy of yours. I didn't know that you're doing it far deep in areas that I feel they really need that support.
So Mapitsi Foundation, we focus on a lot of things, but I mean, it was to answer your point of a lot of school kids not knowing what to do, or they might end up at varsity, but that's why we find people 8 years later, they've done first years of every course. Sometimes they don't even fail. It's because they don't have the knowledge and it doesn't fulfill them. So the education side, and I'm very selfish in this, the education side of Mapitsi Foundation, we strongly, and our focus is on rural kids. So people in the rural areas. So there we don't even doubt, because kids in Alexander, they're not as they are actually privileged. In Soweto, they're privileged. We all know them. We sit in different boards in our professions. You find that whenever some company wants to do corporate social investments, for them it's more about ticking the box. They don't understand the value of that. So they would go to a school that's closer to their office, right? So we want to go to those, it's actually called underserved communities. I mean, for more than 20 years in our democracy, you found we had to rebuild the school ourselves, That's not fair. So if I don't come back and plow back to the community, who do I expect will do that? So charity begins at home, right?
Yeah.
So you can't be mullo to Kelabashila. So I have to come back to Jerusalem and back to home and improve at home before I go anywhere else.
And this is the challenge we are putting to all professionals and entrepreneurs out there, that the place where your impact will be more maximized is the place where people can relate to you growing up there, and you have now turned out to be this successful person. They just love that. Emotionally, it just makes sense. Of course,
you connect better.
Yeah, of course, we don't say that we must ignore other, but I mean, if all of us do that, then obviously, then we can even cross-pollinate ideas.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we do that. We do that. I mean, I've supported people out of out of Limpopo. I've supported people everywhere because, like I said, all my contacts, I'm not discriminatory in my contacts. So if somebody says, Buyani says, in KZN I'm doing something, I will definitely go with him because it's all about the difference that you're bringing to people. And when I say rural, I say rural in the whole of South Africa, though my focus was Limpopo. So that's what we're working on. I mean, we've done tremendous things, Sam. We've done coding at Tagetala, where a child has never even seen a computer. So we've with the small little things that you have, the small networks that you have, you can definitely make strides. As I'm speaking to you, we've got one girl that did. She used to be troublesome at school, by the way. She was just about to be expelled at school. So thank God for that year when we hosted a gig that week, which is just 5 days of hacking and hacking in a good way though.
Yes.
And it's IT. So hacking in partnership with Gig Culture. So they learn coding and everything else. That girl from that day onwards, she became excellent at school. So she's studying computer science at TET. I mean, TET is one of the good varsities or rather academic institutions in terms of computer science. So she's excelling. There's so many good stories. And I mean, those just ground me, Sam. Every year when I go there, it just grounds me. It makes me say, Rahab, there's still a lot of work for you to do.
Absolutely. This is one of the areas where we haven't been very good, and I'm glad you're doing this because we need more of this. If you go to other nations, it is a given that the graduates from a particular institution will come back as alumni and do something.
Absolutely. But some people want to do. And I don't understand. We grew up in the same environment with the same value system, but as soon as we grow in our corporate years and professional years, we want. I think we have this silly feeling of want to conform, and I refuse to conform, and I will tell you why I'm saying people conform. If you grow up high, you understand the value of charity begins at home because that's how you were raised. So you can't tell me that today you are running a huge organization. People in influence. Tagetala has people in huge influential positions, international and national. But every time you send them an email, you know what, Sam, they want? It's recognition, is people to come there and upload them and everything. I'm not interested in you driving your Range Rover and parking there. I'm interested in you being there and telling your story so that somebody somewhere sees that, you know what, Lena, tomorrow I can be a better person. So some of them, I had to turn them away, Sam, I must be honest. And I said to them, your heart is not at the right place because I'm very protective that much about those children. It's all about giving hope. It's not about to show you, you know what, my children are actually better off. And I need to mention to you also that my kids actually work on those days. So August, we usually host it in August. So my kids have to work at Tagetala throughout the years, and they've done that. Wow. Having the kids, talking to them, because you need to understand life does not revolve around you.
There is a school that we have spoken a lot about on this platform in Kwakwa called Mamboi.
Okay.
And they've managed to put together a formal alumni. When that they meet in Tumaelo, when that they Mukwena. They go there every year. It's almost like if you are not part of it and you graduated from that school, you're almost like you are outcast or something like that. And
that's beautiful.
And I said to them that I need to apologize to everybody else. I'm going to keep on mentioning them everywhere I come across somebody with a similar thing to them. And I really would like to connect you with them because I feel that they can't just be ignored when they're making such impact. It's a science school, maths and science school. And they have provided so many professionals from that school. And I just feel very strongly that we need this model. Your model, their model.
Absolutely.
That it becomes, we can't. We are demanding everything from government. There are so many demands. Yes, our government has got its own shortcomings, but there are areas like this where we can only be resourced in terms of we are related to this school, we learn from this school, we have now become successful. We could expand ourselves by continue producing graduates so that the alumni becomes bigger. And then we change the country.
No, that's true. I'd appreciate, because I'm always willing to learn. I mean, Taketal doing very good in terms of education and all that. But in terms of bringing the alumni, because I understand that tomorrow I might not be able to do it, and hand it over to people that have the similar conviction. So I definitely will take you up on that.
Yes. Now, I promised them that I will come to Kwakwa and visit Mamboy. I promise some colleagues that are coming out of Venda, because we're picking up some great people coming out of Venda who are also wanting to do things there. And now it's yourself, and I need to find somebody from Skukuneland, because I cannot be Skukune out.
So we launched. We launched. We had a lot of requests from Sikukune. In fact, there's actually an NPO that we started. I'm part of. I sit on their board with quite key people. It's called Pokwani Development Forum. So we started last year.
Wow.
And it's slowly getting there. But also the challenges are the same. We've got professionals. We are running this. But when comes the time to put your hand to the plow, people just want, I don't understand. It's almost like it's the stage. We forget that this is just for our community. And government cannot be doing this. Sim, I believe government, it's there to set policies, to set systematic privileges for us. But I cannot abdicate my responsibility as a neighbor to look after my neighbor's child. Government must not tell me to do that. That is my responsibility, and that is why I keep doing what I'm doing.
Beautiful. I just interviewed a lady who's working in the Department of Higher Education Training. She's from a village called Kudupu, just outside Pokwani.
Yes, I know the school.
And then I was saying to her that I'm from Jane First, and Pokwani and Jane First is just they are all in the Makulu Tamaga region. So having mentioned that I need somebody from Skukune, but I think Mutipana Mukwali will be the person to talk to as well. Your forum in Pokwani. So but we're talking countrywide. I've spoken to people coming from Craddock in the Eastern Cape. On that day, Dr. Andrew Johnson, I spoke to Lincoln Mali, who's at Standard Bank. He's doing wonderful things in his community in Port Elizabeth. So I think we have just started a virtual movement now, in terms of going back to our schools, making a difference, so that our government can focus on setting policies and strategies, and we must pick up and really build a great movement of development activists.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Tell me, who is Mapitsi?
So Mapitsi is my name.
Okay, it's your African name.
Yes. So it's my first name.
Okay. Wow. Beautiful.
And you know that it's a royal name, right?
Mapitsi.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Tell me more.
So, and I don't want to mention it out of error, but I know that Khoshi Sukukune, there's a Mapitsi somewhere, and so that's why I was named after her.
Wow.
And I was named after one of my dad's aunt, and she was I think she studied overseas, and she was a primary school teacher. And she just said, there's something about this child. She actually gave me both the names. I mean, Rahab is a name in the Bible, where the lineage of Christ comes from. So, so I know that all I know is it's out of royalty.
Yes, wow, beautiful. We will go deeper later in some of the talk shows where we talk about the identity and the heritage of South Africa. Is rich in terms of heritage. And in every corner of the country, the history is really very rich, and we will explore more of that. Now, I still want to go back to when you were at VETS. And you doing human resources. Was that a degree in human resources?
It was BCom Industrial Psych. So in that same year, then that's when I moved to IPM to do the diploma in human resources through Institute of People Management.
Yes. Oh, you are an IPM graduate?
Oh, yes, I am.
Wow.
Proudly so.
Ah, beautiful. It explains your commitment to the organization even till today. And we're gonna talk more about that. But thank you very much for this rich insight in terms of having found your calling, I will call it that, and then also connecting with the communities, because HR is a helping profession in a certain way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, beautiful. Great stuff. Let's hold it there, and when we come back, I want us to focus on your on your corporate journey.
Thank you.
Lovely.